This is just some pictures that people claim these are real pictures. ¿Sabéis los daguerreotypes? You ever heard of that term? It's like old pictures from the 1960s and 50s and stuff. So these are pictures from really, really old people from the 1800s que dicen que se parecen mucho, they look alike to these famous people. Like this is Matthew McConaughey. This is Greta Thunberg, no? The ecologist. Look at this. She looks so much like
How can you know that? Like, you know.
No. Simplemente que se parecen. They just look alike. So they're just using these pictures. Bueno, estos son los casos de people that never age, like Keanu Reeves. Que dicen que estos son. This is a portrait from a guy in the 1500s, 1800s.
Evolution.
Y como que never age. Tú conoces, mira, hay un concurso, there's a TV show, a quiz TV show. It's called Cifras y Letras. ¿Y cómo se llama el presentador?
Jordi Hurtado.
This is the Spanish Keanu Reeves.
Okay. Yeah, this is true.
Listen, this guy has been hosting the same show. This is like the oldest show
More than 20
on TV.
years.
Okay.
I think it's 25 years, or almost 30 or something.
Yeah.
I think this, mira, over 3,000 shows. This is crazy stuff. Like there's no show, there never will be a show that have this amount of episodes because of the way TV works nowadays. But this just happens to stay on TV, on air. This is I think it's from the 1980s or something.
Oh my God.
1980s, this is like 80s, 90s, early 2000s nowadays.
Wow, yeah. Doesn't change. Your immortality, didn't say?
Like, look, I mean, he just has some gray hairs.
Yeah.
The theories of time travel. The three basic, let's say, ways to explain time travel. Fixed timeline. Dynamic timeline and multiverse timeline.
Okay.
So, let me break it down for you. So, the fixed timeline, it means that it doesn't matter what you do if you travel back in time. So, let's go with the grandfather paradox, like the most common thing that people talk about when they talk about time travel. ¿Sabes la paradoja de tu abuelo? Es que si tú viajas al pasado y tú matas a tu abuelo, tú no naces. Entonces hay una paradoja, porque si no naces no puedes volver al pasado y matar a tu abuelo. Se crea una paradoja. You know this one, right?
Yeah.
So this is a paradox.
Yeah.
So you cannot kill grandfather because if you kill him, you cannot go back in time and kill him.
Because you won't be born.
So it's a paradox.
Okay.
So in this theory of the fixed timeline, if you kill your grandfather, the universe finds its way to change it so that somehow your grandfather is born through some other means. You are born through some other means. You are born, so your life goes on. So it doesn't matter what you do. The universe will find its way to fix itself to keep going the way it's supposed to be.
So it's not changeable.
It's not changeable. It's fixed. Como que es fijo. Que da igual. Si tú viajas al pasado y cambias las cosas, el universo como se reajusta. ¿Sabes? ¿No te convence esta teoría o qué? Bueno, pues
si tú lo dices...
No.
Yo no sé si creérmelo porque...
Es una teoría. Es just a theory. La otra teoría is dynamic, which means that it's the opposite. It's if you go back in time and you change something, let's say you kill Hitler, the 6 million Jews don't die, and the Second World War doesn't happen. No hay Segunda Guerra Mundial, and the world is completely different. Maybe the US will not be the power of the world. So everything changes. The history changes. This means dynamic. Esa es la teoría dinámica. In the multiverse, it means that if you change something in the past, it creates a new timeline. So a new universe. Como que sigue pasando lo que ya pasaba, whatever happened keeps happening, but because you change something, you create a new branch of reality. So there are as many realities as time travels, as time trips. ¿Qué teoría, which theory do you think is more likely to be true? ¿Qué teorías creéis que es la que creéis vosotros que tiene más probabilidades de ser verdad?
En este momento me acuerdo que Chimo sería una persona perfecta para revolver.
Para esto, ¿verdad?
Es como, wow, porque eres filósofo y piensa estas cosas abstractas y le da vuelta. En mi caso no tengo ni idea, sinceramente.
You know, she's talking about Chimo, another guy that came over to the show a couple of times, but because he's a philosopher, so he tends to reflect a lot on these topics.
Yeah.
But she says that she doesn't have any idea.
Yeah. I think that the most likely would be the multiverse.
El multiverse.
Just because I think it solidifies our idea of our own free will and your own possibility to have an active participation in the direction of your life, right?
Okay.
I think it also could support I've never really thought about this before, but I'm thinking about it now.
All right, cool. That's what I want. That's what I wanted.
The idea, like you're saying, how multiple realities could be running at the same time with you and kind of like the characters of your life, the people you know, right? So maybe that could explain, have you ever like met somebody new and you just like got along, so you're like, I feel like I've known you for 10 years, but we've known each other for a week, right?
Yeah.
Like this feeling of like knowing people and places
Familiarity,
that you have no reason to, right?
Yeah.
But you still feel this like crazy like
connection
to them, right?
A bond. Yeah.
Right. So in general, this multiverse, like multi-level of many possibilities and things happening in different ways, it's like, okay, maybe I was connected to this person in the other version of this life, right? Maybe our paths crossed and that's why we have this, like I could meet 10 people and one of them I'm like, yes, I've known you before, you know, like that just sense of connection and knowing that you don't feel with everyone, right? But I feel like everyone has their own stories of that when it comes to meeting people at times.
That actually makes a lot of sense. Eso tiene sentido. Mira, hay un show, it's called Devs. It's this guy. It's a TV show that kind of explains, they make up a machine not to travel in time, but to see the future and to see the past. It's like a screen where you can project in the past and in the future. Somehow with quantum computers and stuff. And they have a lot of reflections about exactly what you said, free will and synergy. Because you brought up those two concepts, which are really, really interesting for me. Free will and synergy among people. That kind of special connection that she was talking about, where you feel like you have known that person for a long time. Or, I don't know, without really knowing them, you trust them.
What does it mean? Free will?
Free will es libre albedrío. Libre albedrío es, tú decides, tú eres libre de elegir tus acciones. O sea, libertad de elección. Libertad de elección.
Vale.
Free choice, you choose whatever you do.
Ok.
Pero claro, ella lo que ha dicho es que eso explicaría, that would give a little bit of explanation to free will, because if you think about time travel as a fixed timeline or even a dynamic timeline, that means that there's destiny. Like there's a force.
Something controlling.
Exactly.
Right.
There's like a force, hay como una fuerza, ¿no? Que controla nuestras acciones o nuestro futuro, ¿no? So it's really paralyzing, ¿no? To me, to think that the fixed timeline and the dynamic timeline is true, it's really paralyzing. Para mí es como te paraliza, ¿no?